Today on the G3 Boardroom, we are going to be looking at a brand new game that is just in the process of coming out called the Brightview Haunting.
Brightview Haunting. Although it's very dim forest.
Yeah, there's no bright view. Everything is the dark woods.
It's even a dim outlook on things. It's not very
There is the
bright.
cabin that could be
But
haunted.
it's quite dim.
It's dark in that cabin.
I'm not, looking at the map. I'm actually not sure where I would hide in this game. That would, maybe under the bridge. I don't know. But you know what you're going to get in this game. You have a one player is controlling the evil entity that you have mistakenly awoken, or that Bert has mistakenly awoken, and of course you have summoned all the professional spirit fighters that you can possibly manage to pull together.
High school football player.
Hot teenage girls, people with vast amounts of experience dealing with the occult. One person is going to play as the evil spirit, the Whisperer, and then it can play up to 6, but those 5 players, only 4 of them are going to play Exorcists, and one of them is actually going to start on the bad guys team if you have 6 players going in this. So you have 5 Exorcists to choose from. They all have their own passive abilities. Mileage may vary on the passive abilities. Some of them are super good. Some of them are just merely good.
Well, I think it, like we said, it has to do with the combination of players too.
Absolutely.
So.
The other things you're going to get in this game comes with a vast amount of tokens to keep you going. You've got a deck that sits in each spot, so you have different events that churn out when you happen to be in different parts of the map. And then you have a whole bunch of items that are going to be on the board that you're going to have to run through and gather up. Now, when we played through this, Bob actually had a stack of items like you would not believe.
Utility items.
Because I was busy fighting Jay and trying to corrupt them, and Bob says, I got all the items in the world. Bob's hitting up the Walmarts of the world over here, Home Depots, basically gathering whatever he needs to make a life for himself. Jay is on the run.
So kind of we want to go over what type of items we have here and what they do.
Absolutely.
So utility items are basically like healing items. A lot of them were like salt jars, salt canisters, which can also lay like salt lines and salt circles to prevent the Whisperer.
Did you say salt lions?
Maybe.
Salt lions.
Salt lines. You have the warding items, were kind of like more protective skill, protective artifacts. Corrupt items. They did good stuff, but they always did some bad stuff as well. And then the ritual items were the important ones to do, because as those get placed out onto the ritual areas, or am I saying that right? You have to go to those areas and perform a spell or an incantation or invoke those to actually do damage to the elder tree.
Yeah. And doing damage to the Elder Tree is the way that the Exorcists are going to win this game. They have to reduce the power of the Elder Tree from 10 to 0. And when that happens, Bert goes free, the world is saved, and I guess the teenagers return to high school.
He better be worth it for going through all this trouble.
I don't know. It seems, I don't know. Funny side story, my wife and I used to have a tree, and we named it Bert.
Bert?
That's such an odd coincidence.
That is weird.
But you do get 5 different Exorcists to play from, and so you're going to pick and choose the one you want. A 3-player game, someone's going to control 2. You always have to have at least 3 Exorcists out there. Yeah. There's also a dynamic in this game, or how the bad guy wins, how the Whisperer is going to win, is by corrupting the Exorcists. And how that happens, you have a corruption track. When it hits a certain point, you can then use an ability to bring them over to your side. Now, how that works in a 3-player game was then how it worked for Jay. Jay was controlling 2, so I took control of 1, and then I could move them both around. And the Exorcists, once possessed, have their own little abilities that they can do.
Yeah.
Right. So just to run through a basic turn, we've talked about what the object of the game is. So you're going to be, you get 2 actions. So you're going to be moving around, and you're going to be looking for these eyeball pieces that are in various preset places around the board. They're all hidden. You're going to want to reveal these things and collect these things. And Bob talks about some of the items that you have. Sometimes when you reveal the, it is an item. Sometimes it's like a ritual. Sometimes it's a corrupt item. Any of those different stacks of cards that are over there, you get those by finding and turning over these search items here. And so you're gathering up these items. you're trying to find things that are going to hurt the Whisperer, get their track down. Now, the Whisperer is going to be walking around and picking up these green items here, the echoes they're called. And so when the Whisperer picks up an echo, on the other side of the echo is something that is going to benefit the Whisperer. Something like, sending out a pulse that just makes every other player's corruption meter go up by 1, or, do other things like that. And so that's the sort of the dynamic. The Whisperer is trying to find their stuff and trying to, hurt the other people, and the players are trying to find stuff that helps them to hurt the Whisperer.
Right. And on the Survivor's turn, you're right. You're collecting items. You're trying to do these things. I played as the Whisperer. Now, on the Whisperer's turn, exactly as Jay said, I am collecting. I'm collecting the echoes. There's certain things on the bottom, but when I get 2, then I can engage that pulse ability you were talking about. And so what goes on here, it's a very interesting dynamic where you don't directly engage one another constantly. I'm not actually a murderer who's hunting you down, trying to stab you. I'm trying to do different things. I'm not trying to chop you to bits. I'm trying to bring you over to my side.
Corrupt us like the One Ring.
I'm just trying to show you the right path. Okay. So I'm trying to steer you in my direction. Basically, I just want to talk to you. Just want to hang out. Now there is a little bit of direct confrontation that does take place as well. Like I said, when an Exorcist corruption reaches 5, you can go and use an ability and they automatically come over. But there is another ability that the Whisperer has, it's called Ensnare, which I can use it any time, but it's better to use it when you have a good amount of corruption. And then you roll these 3 dice, and if it hits 5 or more, if the result of the dice brings you to 5 or more, you're automatically brought over. And that's the real point of direct engagement.
Yeah.
And that's what there was one guy who had, in our playthrough, there was a guy who had a bit of an identity crisis. I'd flip him one turn, Jay would flip him back, and we just kept passing him back and forth. He kind of had a situation going on, He's young, he doesn't quite know who he is.
Bipolar.
So it was waffling back and forth. He must have gotten possessed 3 times,
At
and
least.
then another player would come
Depossessed.
over and get rid of some of that corruption, so they're not possessed anymore. And so then they're back on the the good team, and then not the Whisperer team.
At a certain point, I'm not sure why their team should trust him. But what I eventually did do on that was I possessed the guy, and then I moved him far away, so Jay couldn't get him anymore. So Jay couldn't get him back.
Good point.
Yeah.
But that's basically it. I would say it's an interesting dynamic. It's a one versus many. The people who are the many are free to work with each other as much as they want. Of course, the Whisperer can hear you, and it very specifically says in the rules you're not allowed to go in the other room and discuss strategy. So something to keep in mind.
And we're assuming that means no texting either.
Yeah.
Well, it's ASL if you know it.
Very important. Yeah. Agree on a common language. Go with that.
Yes.
So
I got you.
But that's what you're looking at. There's a bit of competitive. There's a bit of cooperative. And eventually there can be 3 teams. There's the bad guy, the people who are corrupted, and the good guys.
Yeah, we found that the icons on the box are pretty accurate as far as like the age. I think that that's accurate. I think it's 14 plus, which seems good. And our plays were about an hour. And it's with 3 people, and that's about what it says. So it looks pretty accurate there. And we were stumbling through a few things and kind of learning our way, at least in the first couple of games we played.
Yeah, once we got the hang of it, it did go really fast. And then it was really only slowed down by our own foolishness or making fun of one another or something like that. So,
Yes.
yeah. But Brightview Haunting, I know it's on pre-order right now, so go ahead and hit the link in the bottom if you're interested. You go right to the website, and they'll be able to help you out.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and
hit the
subscribe
bell.
and comment.
Comment.
Let us know what you think of Brightview Haunting. So
We'll see you next time.